This video will demonstrate the installation of a window equipped with a nailing pen. The installation shown involves a house with a membrane drainage system. Before beginning the procedure, the weather-resistant barrier should already be in place. The sill flashing is installed prior to installing the window. The jamb and head flashing will be applied to the face of the nailing pen after installation. Before starting the process, please ensure that the sashes of each window to be installed are closed and locked, and the screens are removed. To begin, mark the weather-resistant barrier with cut lines in a modified eye. Mark a point of intersection above each jamb condition. This point is located 9 inches up and 9 inches over from the rough opening. Use a 9-inch by 9-inch square piece of self-adhesive flashing to make it easy to locate the point. Cut a horizontal line at the top, flush with the edge of the rough opening. Cut from the top of the opening to where the two diagonal lines intersect at approximately 45 degrees. Next, cut 2 diagonal lines starting at the intersection and ending at the bottom corners of the rough opening. Then cut the intersection above each jamb. This creates a flap in the weather-resistant barrier that will be used later. The flap at the head of the opening can now be taped up for future use. Wrap the weather-resistant barrier to the inside. Nail to secure it. Any excess barrier material on the interior can be trimmed and discarded. The sill flashing is then installed. Make a vertical relief cut on the self-adhesive flashing and adhere to the rough opening. Repeat on both sides. Press firmly around all edges. After the sill flashing is installed, apply a 3/8" bead of sealant to the interior surface on the window's nailing fin. As shown in this example, sealant should be applied to the entire opening so that it will make contact with the mounting flange of the window. The sealant must be placed in line with any pre-punched holes or slots in the nailing fin. Once the sealant is applied, the window can be set into position. Raise the window up, tilting the bottom toward the rough opening of the sill condition. Set the window on the shims and push the window into place. Press against the nailing fin to compress the fin and sealant. Attach a fastener through the nailing fin at the upper jamb condition on one side. The installer on the outside should raise the window in the opening to make sure that it is not resting on the sill. Check for squeeze out of the sealant along the fin and through any installation holes or slots. Move the window from side to side, making sure the joint between the window frame and the rough opening is equal on both sides. After the window is in position, check it for level, adding shims when necessary. Recheck the window for plumb and level. Next, fasten the top of the window on the other side. Using a tape measure, check the window to ensure that it is square. Raise the bottom sash to check reveal. There should be an even gap from jamb to jamb. Attach fasteners to the bottom corners. Then from the inside, check the window again for level, plumb, and square by measuring its width at bottom, middle, and top, and its height at left, middle, and right. You are checking to make sure there is no bowing on the sill or sides, and that there is a narrow gap around the perimeter of the window. Next, verify that the window is not resting on the sill. Continue to fasten the window in place, making sure to attach it as instructed by the manufacturer. Next, the jamb flashing is applied to both sides of the window. Start by raising the jamb self-adhesive flashing into position to make sure the top of the flashing is inserted under the flap of the weather-resistant barrier. The bottom of the jamb flashing will be approximately 1/2 inch shorter than the bottom of the sill flashing. Next, the head flashing can be installed. Raise the head flashing up, making sure the top of the flashing is placed under the flap of the weather-resistant barrier at the head. Place the lower edge of the flashing over the window's nailing pin. The ends of the flashing should overlap the jamb flashing by approximately 1 inch on each side. After the flashing is applied at the head condition, the flap of the weather-resistant barrier can be lowered into its final position. After removing the tape, lower the weather-resistant barrier down over the head and jamb flashing. Apply a new piece of sheeting tape over the entire diagonal cut line between the weather-resistant barrier and the flashing material on each side of the opening. To complete the installation process on the interior, insert loose fiberglass insulation or sealant in the joint between the window frame and the rough framing, and trim to suit the job requirements. When installing insulation, be careful to pack the joints loosely. Expandable foam insulation should not be used. The installation is now complete. Successful replacement window installation begins with accurate measurement of the opening into which the replacement window is to be installed. Improper installation will result in faulty operation and may void the manufacturer's warranty. Accurately measure any opening before purchasing your vinyl replacement windows. There are 3 measurements that are critical to ensuring the proper size replacement window is ordered. They are width, height, and square or diagonals. Accurate measurements must be taken of each window opening. Windows that appear to be the same size may in fact vary enough that different replacement window sizes are required. Please measure each dimension in inches, and always refer to the width as the first measurement. The true width is the measurement of the distance between the left and right sides of the existing wood window opening. To begin, remove the interior stops to ensure proper measurement. The casing may also need to be removed to gain access to the stops. When measuring the width, measurement should record the distance from jamb to jamb at 3 locations: bottom, middle, and top. Be sure to take these measurements from inside the house. Use the smallest of the 3 dimensions as the width for the replacement window. Next, measure the height from the highest portion of the sill to the header from the right side, middle, and left side. You will need to open the bottom sash before measuring height to provide access to the sill. The next step is to measure the diagonals. First, measure from the top left corner to the bottom right corner. Then measure from the bottom left corner to the top right corner. If the distances are equal, the opening is square. If the 2 measurements vary by more than 1/4 inch, the opening is out of square and a smaller replacement window should be strongly considered. Remember, when ordering replacement windows, please provide the manufacturer with the width and height measurements in inches. Manufacturers calculate the specific sizes of their replacement windows based on these dimensions. If you have any questions or concerns about the measuring process or your actual dimensions, please consult a professional contractor or window installer. Once the window opening has been prepared for the replacement window, you will be ready to begin installation. Dry fit the replacement window into the opening and check the height of the sill angle. This is done by placing the sill angle on the exterior sill between the windowsill and the bottom of the replacement window. Adjust the height if necessary by cutting the sill angle along the scored slots. Once the height of the sill angle has been determined, remove the replacement window from the opening. Apply a bead of sealant along the edge of the sill angle where it contacts the existing windowsill. Leave 2 voids in the sealant to allow water to escape. The void should measure between 1/4 and 1/2 inch long. Position the sill angle. Next, apply a generous bead of sealant to the interior side of the exterior stops and to the outside of the stool. Insert the window through the opening and against the exterior stops. It is extremely important that you correctly insert the sill angle into the appropriate slot at the bottom of the window's exterior. Close the sash and lock. The window should remain closed and locked for the rest of the installation. Some windows may require a head expander at the top if a gap exists. Insert loose insulation between the window and the head expander to allow for expansion. Apply a continuous bead of sealant along the edges of the stops and casing as an internal line of defense against air infiltration. The sealant will also give the installation a clean appearance. we recommend using a paintable sealant. Replace the interior stops. Any stops in damaged or poor condition should be replaced before the installation continues. Check for square to determine if any adjustments must be made. Open the sash to access the pre-punched installation holes. Secure the window by fastening screws through the installation holes. The pre-punched installation holes are behind the sash stops at the top, middle, and bottom of each side of the window. Manufacturer specifications may vary. Balance covers must be removed to access the screw holes at the top. Continue to fasten the window in place, making sure to attach it as instructed by the manufacturer. Do not over-tighten the screws. Allow for use of an adjusting square prior to permanent installation. Check again for square. Or tighten the jam adjusters as necessary. Check again for square. Tilt and remove both sashes. And measure the window width at the bottom, middle, and top.